looking good. Coffee's flowing. It's time to get going.
Hey, welcome back to Questions Over Coffee. My name's Kevin Smith. It's good to see you again. Want a cup of coffee? Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss anything that's coming up on Questions Over Coffee. If you have a comment or a question, leave it in the section below. We'll get to it just as fast as we can. Today's question comes from 2Reggers1. 2Reggers writes, can I work in a community bank? 2Reggers1, I will say this is a really good question, because honestly, in my opinion, bankers have a very difficult job in front of them because, well, they've got all that cash working in front of them, all that sales that is possible in front of them with the customers, things like that. I will tell you, many years ago, from '02 to '05, I worked for merchant services for one of the big nationwide banks. I did not deal with cash. I dealt with credit card numbers, and I dealt with bankers, sales reps, merchants, not customers necessarily, but those groups. So in some ways, I do have a special understanding of this particular question and this particular challenge. And I will tell you that the short answer is yes, you can. You can work in a community bank and please God at the same time. Now, I will also say that, like we've already said, sometimes it can be a challenge because of the things that are in front of us that maybe would not be in other companies, other situations, things like that. But other companies and situations have their own challenges as well. But let's take a look at Ephesians chapter 4. We're going to look at verses 17 through 24. Let's go ahead and read that together. So I say, and affirm together with the Lord, that you walk no longer just as the Gentiles also walk, in the futility of their mind, being darkened in their understanding, excluded from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them, because of the hardness of their heart. And they, having become callous, have given themselves over to sensuality for the practice of every kind of impurity with greediness. But you did not learn Christ in this way. If indeed you have heard him and have been taught in him, just as truth is in Jesus, that in reference to your former manner of life, you lay aside the old self, which is being corrupted in accordance with the lusts of deceit, and that you be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and put on the new self, which in the likeness of God has been created in righteousness and holiness of the truth. Okay, so as people of God, we have got to work and live as people with integrity and people who seek to be honest in situations. Now, this is a challenge in the workplace, whatever workplace we're talking about. Now, because sometimes we will be asked to do things that, well, it's a little underhanded for the sake of business, for the sake of the company. This is not good. This is not good. This is a lack of integrity. I was asked to do something many years ago when I was working with merchant services that would have cost the customer, the merchant, money, but saved our company money. But it was not the merchant's fault, or at least not so that I could have assessed. And I told the merchant, I'm not going to charge you for this. And it nearly cost me my job. That was the way it was. There was nothing in their contract that said, well, you will owe us X amount of money if this happens. There was nothing in the notes that said we did something or the merchant did something. So I had to make a gut call on it, and it nearly cost me my job. Sometimes you are going to be called to avoid a sale, or be honest with a customer as to why a loan did not go through, or something like that. We got to do that. Is that going to please our bosses? Sometimes. I will tell you, my immediate supervisor, while she did say I could fire you for this, she was impressed. She told me so. But we've got to avoid greediness. And sometimes that is very, very difficult. We want to do what the boss wants us to do so that we can make more money and supply for our family. The supplying for our family is not a bad thing, right? Except when that's the first thing we think about. How can I earn more cash? How can I do X? How can I, what can I do to be wealthy, rich? Things like that. Supplying for our family is one thing. Being so focused on money, something completely different. In Colossians, Paul calls that idolatry. So, in short, Paul ends the section that we read with the fact that we need to live in righteousness, in holiness of the truth. We need to be seeking to hold God's standards up, no matter what the situation may be. My dad was a salesman for many, many years, and he told me on a number of occasions the best thing to do with a sale is to be honest, to do what's right for the customer and for the business, but to keep that integrity, and the customers will keep coming back. And that was the case for him. So I have a question for you. What can we do to avoid becoming greedy people in life? We don't have to have money to be greedy. Just the pursuit of money is an act of greed itself. What can we do to avoid becoming greedy people in life? Leave me a comment in the section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss anything that's coming up on Questions Over Coffee. Thank you for our time together today. I look forward to the next time. Keep pressing forward.